You are now listening to Brutally Human. Formerly, That's Life. Now, here's your ever-excited host, Kyle Fields.
So you're dating after 30. Welcome to Goodwill, where everything is gently used, questionably repaired, and probably has a weird smell. No offense. Look, I'm not saying the dating pool is a clearance rack, but I am saying sometimes you gotta dig a little to find a gem. You know, you walk in hopeful, thinking, maybe today I'll find something amazing. And then 5 minutes later, you're holding a tattered jean jacket wondering, was this a fashion statement or a cry for help? That's dating after 30. Everyone's got a little wear and tear. Some come with baggage. Some come with emotional stains that won't come out no matter how hard you scrub. And the worst part? Half the time, the label's been ripped off, so you have no idea what you're dealing with. But you keep coming back, because somewhere in the chaos, you know there are treasures. And if you're lucky, you might just find one. Welcome to Brutally Human. Today, we're talking about why dating after 30 is basically thrift shopping. Full of surprises, occasional disappointments, and that one in a million find that makes it all worth it. So here's the thing about dating after 30. Everything's on clearance, but not everything is a deal. See, back in your 20s, dating was this shiny, exciting free-for-all. You meet someone at a bar, you exchange numbers, you ignore every red flag because, hey, we're young and figuring it out. But now, baby, we are not young and I am tired. Dating after 30 is like walking into a Goodwill, grabbing a cart and trying not to look desperate. You're sifting through the racks, and it's like the barely worn but emotionally unavailable. You know, the ones who say, I've been so busy lately, as if time management is the only thing keeping them from falling in love. Or the missing a button but still charming. Cute, funny, but there's something off. Maybe it's the three roommates. Maybe it's the fact that they aren't looking for anything serious, but also don't want to be alone. Or the clearly damaged but thinks they're brand new. Oh, this one's my favorite. Every time you point out an issue, they hit you with, that's just who I am. Take it or leave it. Honey, I'm about to leave it and leave it all. And let's not forget the vintage section, also known as the dating in your 40s crowd. You get the divorcees who swear they've never been happier, but still talk about their ex in vivid emotional detail. You get the single parents who are great at communicating, but only between school pickups and soccer practice. And look, I'm not here to shame anybody. We're all a little worn around the edges by now. But that's the point. We've all got history. We've all got quirks. We've all got, let's call it, character. The difference is now we're old enough to know what we can and can't fix. And if you're smart, you'll learn real quick that taking home a fixer-upper isn't just exhausting, it's expensive. So you start being pickier. You start inspecting the merchandise. You check for signs of damage. You look for hidden stains and ask the hard questions. Are you really single or just emotionally separated? Are you over your ex, or do they just not know where you live now? Do you actually have a job, or are you just really good at making plans around lunch breaks? Because the last thing you want is to get home with what you thought was a treasure, only to realize you just dragged someone else's emotional baggage into your life. Again. But don't worry, it's not all bad. Because for all the junk and the clearance items, there are still some hidden gems out there. You just got to know how to look for them. And that is what we're getting into next. You ever walk into a Goodwill and see something that looks just like what you had in high school? Maybe an old band tee, a pair of faded jeans, or those ridiculously oversized flannel shirts? You know what I'm talking about. And you think for a split second, oh my God, I need this. Yeah, that's dating in your 30s. Because for some reason, we keep trying to date our type from our 20s, thinking it'll still fit. You see someone with that bad boy vibe you used to fall for, and suddenly you're 22 again, ignoring all your standards just to ride that emotional roller coaster one more time. Or you match with someone who has the same toxic trait as your ex, but you tell yourself, no, this time it's different. Baby, no, it's not. It's just Goodwill deja vu. And the best part, the price tag. Because when you're younger, those bad habits were charming. Now they're just expensive. The emotionally unavailable guy who's just not ready for a commitment. Oh, he's not a free spirit. He's just commitment averse and one uncomfortable conversation away from ghosting you. The girl who doesn't want anything serious, but texts you, "What are you doing?" at 2 a.m. Yeah, she's not mysterious. She's just bored and horny. And then there's the ex who keeps popping back up saying they've changed. But babe, if they were furniture, they'd have a sign on them that says previously owned, some damage, and a lot of stains. But we keep buying. We keep trying them on, hoping this time it'll fit differently. It's like we're stuck in the nostalgia aisle, thinking that if we just find the right person with that same old energy, we can recreate the past, but this time with a happy ending. Except that's not how it works. You ever try on a jacket from high school and realize you don't recognize the person who used to wear it? That's dating after 30. Trying to date like you did in your 20s is like trying to fit into a personality you outgrew. And the only thing more uncomfortable than forcing it is realizing how ridiculous you look trying. But it's not just the exes and the bad decisions we keep chasing. It's the collector's item. You know, the emotionally unavailable masterpieces. The ones who are so put together, so successful, so charming, but absolutely incapable of being in a healthy relationship. Oh, they're stunning to look at. They have all the best stories. They'll sweep you off your feet, but the second you want anything real, they disappear faster than your motivation to work out. They're the thrift store treasures you want so bad until you realize they're just for display. They don't belong in your life. They belong in someone else's Instagram story. So why do we keep trying to buy into these bad ideas? Why do we keep trying on people who don't fit, hoping they've changed, hoping we can fix them, hoping this time it'll be different? I'll tell you why. Because deep down, we're still hoping for a miracle. We're still that kid who wants to believe we can find something amazing in a pile of junk. And sometimes we do. But to get there, you have to stop digging in the nostalgia bin. You have to start shopping with your grown-up eyes, knowing what you actually need, not just what looks familiar. So let's leave the past where it belongs, on the discount rack. Because in the next segment, we're talking about the real treasures, the hidden gems, the refurbished hearts, the people who are a little worn, but still worth loving. All right, we've laughed at the discount rack. We've cringed at the nostalgia aisle, but now let's talk about the good stuff, the hidden gems. The ones you find when you finally learned how to shop smart. See, dating after 30 isn't all bad. Because for every damaged disaster, there's someone who's been through some stuff and actually learned from it. They're a little worn, a little scuffed, but in the best way. Refurbished hearts, imperfect, but strong because of it. You've got the single parent who knows how to balance a schedule better than most CEOs. They've got patience, they've got priorities, and they're not here for gain. You ask them what they're looking for, and they'll tell you straight up because they don't have time to waste. Then there are the ones who have been through therapy. And let me tell you what, you hit the jackpot with this one. They've already unpacked their childhood trauma. They know their attachment style, and they'll actually communicate. They don't just ghost. They have closure conversations. Who even knew that was a thing? And let's not forget the late bloomers, the ones who spent their 20s building careers, getting their lives together, and now they're actually ready for something real. They've got their own place, their own hobbies, their own friends. They're not looking for someone to complete them. They're looking for someone to complement them. But here's the catch. These hidden gems, they don't shine like the flashy, emotionally unavailable types you used to chase. They're not the instant thrill. They're not the, oh my God, I'm so obsessed on day one. They're the ones who get better with time, the ones who don't sweep you off your feet. They build a foundation under you. Because here's the brutal truth. At this stage, chemistry is fun, but compatibility is everything. I don't care if your heart skips a beat every time they text you. And if we're being honest, at our age, that's probably palpitations and not butterflies. But can they handle a real conversation when you're struggling? Can they show up when it's inconvenient? Can they respect your boundaries without making you feel guilty for having them? And I know, sometimes it feels like you're trying to shop in a store that's already been picked over. But that's the thing about hidden gems. They're not obvious. They're not always the first thing you see. You find them when you start looking past the surface, when you stop chasing drama and start choosing peace, when you stop trying to fix people and start loving them as they are. And here's the wild part. Sometimes you realize you're the hidden gem. You're the one who's been through it, who's grown, who's done the work. You're the one who doesn't need someone else to complete you, but you're open to someone who can add to your life. And you know what? That's not settling. That's knowing your worth. And in a store full of chaos, heartbreak, and half-price trauma bonds, that's the best deal you're ever going to get, babe. So don't let anyone tell you dating after 30 is hopeless, even though I feel like it is. Don't believe me. It's not a bargain bin. It's a treasure hunt. You just got to know how to recognize the real thing when you see it. But if you're going to shop smart, you also got to know when to walk away. Because in the next segment, we're talking about the red flags you can't ignore, the emotional returns, the bad investments, and the heartbreak you don't have to take home. So here's the thing about dating after 30. There's no return policy. You can't take someone home, try them out for a while, and then bring them back with a receipt saying, yeah, they didn't fit. They were kind of a narcissist. Once you let someone into your life, into your heart, it's a whole process to get them out again. So the best way to avoid heartbreak? Know when to leave those sons of bitches on the shelf. And I get it. You want to believe in potential. You see someone who's a little rough around the edges and you think maybe with some patience, maybe with some love, maybe with just a little bit of therapy. But no, you are not a relationship rehab center. Here's the harsh truth. Fixer-uppers are a bad investment. If you want to spend your time repairing something, buy a classic car. At least then when it breaks down, you'll know it's not gaslighting you. Probably because it's not getting any gas at all. So let's talk about the red flags you can't ignore. The I swear I'm over my ex special. This is the one who talks about their ex like it's ancient history, but somehow knows their ex's new partner's name, job, and favorite sushi place. Oh, you're over them? Then why are you basically stalking their Instagram? The trust issues clearance rack. Every conversation is an interrogation. Who texted you? Why are you online but not replying? Why did you smile at the waiter? Baby, I don't know. I'm just trying to order mozzarella sticks without a side of suspicion. The future fakers, limited edition. Make big promises fast, vacations, meeting the family, moving in together. But when it's time to actually follow through, they ghost like a limited time offer. The emotionally unavailable collector's item. Yeah, this one looks amazing. Perfect profile, great first few dates, but the second you try to get real, they start backing away like you asked them to donate a kidney. And here's the hardest one to spot. The almost perfect but model. They check 9 out of 10 boxes, but that missing one, it's not a small thing, it's a deal breaker. Maybe it's honesty, maybe it's respect, maybe it's emotional maturity, and you think maybe they'll change. No, they won't. Look, I'm not saying you should be picky to the point of isolation. I'm just saying you should be smart enough to know that walking away is better than walking on eggshells. And if you've ever been burned before, that's okay. We all have. You don't have to feel bad for believing in someone who wasn't who they said they were. But you do have to stop shopping in the same aisle of heartbreak over and over again, hoping for a different outcome. If someone can't give you honesty, respect, or effort, you don't owe them space in your life. If they treat you like an option, you're not obligated to make them a priority. And if they make you feel like you have to change who you are just to keep them interested, then child, leave them right where you found them, probably on the side of the road. Because you are not a charity. You are not a clearance item. You are not a fixer-upper project for someone who doesn't even know how to use a hammer. I know how to use a hammer. Wink. So here's your permission slip. Stop trying to fix people who don't want to be fixed. Stop accepting potential when you deserve present. Stop settling for almost when you deserve always. Because in the end, the only thing worse than being alone is being in the wrong relationship and calling it love. And that brings us to the final piece. Why sometimes the best thing you can do in the dating game is walk away without buying anything at all. So, yeah, dating after 30 is a lot like shopping at Goodwill. Sometimes you find hidden gems. Sometimes you walk away empty-handed. And sometimes you walk in with hope and walk out with emotional baggage you didn't even buy. This is not a Goodwill Macklemore would feel comfortable in. But here's the thing. Yeah, there's a lot of junk on the rack. But there's also treasures, probably with junk in their trunk. There are people who have been through it, who have done the work, who know how to love without conditions or manipulation. And if you can stop chasing your old type, stop trying to fix the broken, and stop ignoring the red flags, you can find them. But more importantly, you can be one of them. You can be the hidden gem, the one who's grown, healed, and knows your own worth. And when you know your worth, you stop letting people treat you like a clearance item. Dating after 30 isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone honest. It's about choosing peace over drama, respect over excitement, and real connection over empty chemistry. So the next time you're out there in the wild, swiping, texting, second-guessing, just remember, you're not a fixer-upper. You're not someone's second chance at healing, and you are definitely not almost when you deserve always. And if no one's told you lately, you're worth the effort. You're worth the honesty. And if someone can't see that, child, leave them. Leave them right where you found them, on the side of the road, like trash. That's all we have for this episode of Brutally Human. Join us next time for another exciting episode. And remember, until next time, do you, but this time, do it with honesty, boundaries, and a little bit of grace. I love you, I see you, and I'll see you next week.
Brutally Human is written and hosted by Kyle Fields. Scripted and perfected by Mary Rodriguez. Production and editing by One Love Media. All rights reserved. If you liked this episode or think someone you know should hear it, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment, no matter what platform you're listening on. Until next time, be the light, the love, and the hope for a better tomorrow.